Hello, this is Lisa Russick with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and we have a very special guest today. Her name is Lori. Lori, would you like to say hello?
Hello. Thank you for having me here,
I
Lisa.
am
I'm
so
really excited
glad.
for our time together.
Me too. We got to talking right away, listeners and watchers. This is a video on Spotify, and I'm just so excited. We could talk about anything pretty much, and she will enlighten us. I'm positive about it. So, I have a question for you, Lori. Do you think we're all psychic?
Yeah, without question, we're all psychic. In fact, I wouldn't even say I think, I wouldn't say I believe, I would say I 100% know
You
with
know.
100% certainty.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had one other person say they knew, and I know she knows.
Yes. I have 100% certainty that we are all psychic, we're all intuitive, and we all have these gifts, talents, and abilities. And it's up to us as individuals to begin to cultivate them, to work with them, to wake up, to allow them to come through. But there's no one who's not. And the reason for that is because we're all part of one source. This isn't even woo woo. This
Yeah.
is scientifically valid. This is quantum physics valid, not
Yeah.
just quantum physics, right? We're all made up of energy and consciousness. That's absolute foundational, fundamental truth, whether we realize it or not.
Well,
It's
they
kind
show
of,
that in quantum physics with the observer. You have to have the
yeah,
observer, and then things, move around. Like,
right.
so that is, the consciousness is something we all share. Oddly,
That's right.
we
We're
may
all
not know
part
what
of that one source.
yeah,
Exactly.
we may not like think we know what other people are experiencing, but it's very easy. There's a saying: put yourself in someone else's shoes. Empathy. I mean, we have that word, and empath is getting really common now. Everybody knows what that is. So,
Yeah.
but we have these words, and they're psychic words, and psychic terms, psychic
Yeah.
things that we do. And I just think it's great that you know it. So,
Yeah.
were you always raised around this kind of thinking, or did you kind of teach yourself, or were you psychic as a kid and it came out? How did it happen for you?
Well, I'll say that when I was younger, I used to have a lot of like imaginary friends. A lot of people have that, but no, I was not raised around this stuff. It was squashed in me. It was really squashed. In fact, growing up, my family was not at all into this. I would
Yeah.
not say it was cultivated at all, or not. None of it was supported. Any part of it, I was called woo woo. They made fun of me. My ex-husband kind of, it wasn't the reason he divorced me, but it was a major part of why he was not into being
Because you
married.
knew,
What's that?
because you knew stuff about him, or you
Well,
just
I just started developing gifts and he just thought I was crazy. Like I got called crazy a lot. So
I am so
no,
sorry.
I wasn't raised in this. And the thing is like, the truth is that usually what happens for us, those of us who start utilizing these gifts, like I can't speak for everybody, but there's something within us, some kind of calling to it or with it or from it that can't be turned down no matter what happens to us. Like it can be shut down for a while in a
Yeah.
way, like someone can shame us or call us crazy. But if it's meant to come through, it does.
And yeah,
That
that's
doesn't
so
mean it can't
true.
come through for others. It just means if it's part of the soul's agenda for this lifetime, you can't
You
squash it.
can't avoid it. You're so
Right.
right. And my guides are very tricky. They always say I have a choice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we do have
if they
choices.
didn't tell me that, I'd be very upset, and I guess I do have a choice. I mean, I really do, but I keep doing this work. So, it's a drive.
Yes.
It is a drive to do it.
Yes.
An
And
interest.
that's good that your guides say that because that means, to me, that means your guides are functioning from a place of the light.
They are.
Because you're in service to the light, your guides they'll never tell you you have to do something because you
Never.
always have choice. That's God's law. They're just guides and they're just
Yes.
here to help because they have a visionary perspective that maybe we don't see or perceive
Right.
from our lens. But yeah, I mean, that's good that your guides are
I feel
reminding
like
you.
they know the whole story and they just aren't dropping it. Because if we do it, we had to be like, why or what? Do I have to do that?
Sometimes when they don't drop a story, like you don't have the whole picture, it's part of your own soul's growth
That's
and
so
agenda.
true. And it'll even come through in readings for other people. Like, he loves you, and then they won't tell me anything he's about to do. The guides are like, she's got to experience it.
Right.
She's got to feel this. You don't want to tell her or him.
That has happened to me too, that kind of
I
thing.
love that. I love it when that happens. So it's kind of interesting. So was that kind of traumatic for you then, being made fun of when you were younger and told you were crazy by a person who said they love you and stuff? I mean, that's
Well,
traumatic.
you know what? I think, first of all, I will tell you, my whole life has been about healing traumas. And I know we'll talk about that a little bit, but I don't know that that was so much of the trauma because, in a way, it almost immediately made me stronger in a sense
Yeah.
because I knew this is how you develop gnosis is that, gnosis, Knowsis, you develop inner knowing or claircognizance through direct experience. So when you have a direct experience that's so real, like I have seen angels, like real angels with
Yeah.
eyes open, completely consciously awake and aware,
Yeah.
not in a dream state, not in an altered state. I've had different kinds of experiences that are so real that it doesn't matter if someone calls me crazy
It
because
doesn't. It's
I
like,
know what
whoa,
happened. Yeah,
what? And it'll happen to
right.
them someday if it's meant to, or if they want it to, right?
Right. Because we can call through these things, and it doesn't come from a place of like arrogance, like prove it to me. It comes from a place of willingness to sort of disciple ourselves, to student
Right.
ourselves, and to be willing to know and to see and perceive and to be willing to not know, to be willing to be just like what you were saying earlier, to be sometimes willing to know, realize in a way we know nothing. And at the same time, we can know it all. Like you
Yeah,
just
that is weird. Yeah.
that's that balance of humility that isn't about being less than. It's about the recognition that there's infinite. Like,
Yes.
how could we possibly, like, it's just a beginning of exploration in this reality.
It really is.
Oh,
Every day, even as deep as you think you can get, it's like a deeper, 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 higher,
yeah,
higher, higher, that way, this way, dimensional, it's just
totally.
there's more and more to know. And I just like I love to think that my soul, when I die and go to heaven, and reincarnate or whatever. I've read the book Journey of Souls, Life Between Lives, and that's been I'd read it in my 30s, and that is what my cousin had told me happened to him. But like in that book, if you've read it, it looks like you have. They all have different ways of describing what they experience with people stuff. And that's what he did. So when I read that book, I was just like, because it was kind of like a confirmation for me that it was a real thing. Still, then I wasn't really accepting the mediumship myself because I was just
Mm.
this is not happening. It's just too weird. I would do it on my own by myself in meditation or just doing it because they after a while they're just there. And I found that to just be like a mystery to me, mediumship. I don't know how it works.
I'll tell you, it's funny. I never did read that book. What
Oh,
happened
you
was
didn't? Okay.
for me was my brother died of a drug overdose. And after he died, I started getting messages from him. Like at first it was auditory, and I
Yeah.
would just hear him like out of nowhere with his New York accent. Like he'd be like, "Hey, Locke, it's your dead brother, Jeff."
So you have
Like
auditory, because is it in your mind's
that's how it
ear or in your
started.
ear? Like you actually hear it or in your mind's
I
ear?
could hear it, but it was at the same
Okay.
time silent. Like, it was
Okay.
clear audience.
All
But
right.
it very quickly became clairvoyance. Like I would be able to, I started meditating to try to see if I could. I don't know how I knew to
It
do
just
this
starts, right? It
myself, right?
slowly things start forming and making sense. That's how it happened for me too. But
Right.
I don't hear. I usually just you called it
Cognizant.
cognizance. I always called
Right.
it claircognizance. So I had
Oh,
heard
yeah.
that pronunciation. Cognizance. I'll remember it. I'll say it 3 times later and I'll
Yeah,
remember.
it's both. It's either way. But yeah, after he started coming to me, I started working with that for like a year. I started working like with it. Like, is this
Yeah.
real? You don't know when it first starts happening. Then I started getting tons of dead people,
Yeah.
so-called dead people. Like I had a lot of dead celebrities come to me.
Yeah.
That was
Anyone will
wild.
come.
And
Anyone.
they would be like, tell them this, tell them that. I'm like, what? Like,
Oh,
what
they
am I supposed to do with this? I don't even know
would.
what to do with this. Like,
Right.
who am I supposed to tell? Who's going to believe me? Like back then,
Yeah.
I didn't even have a website. I wasn't doing this professionally. It
You
just started.
couldn't. I mean, it wasn't, no one's looking for it that way. And no one knew
Right,
about private psychics unless you're in a big city and you went to one, or something like that.
right, right. I didn't know anything about that stuff back then. I just knew that when my brother died and he started coming to me, I started waking up those gifts, not even on purpose,
Yeah.
just trying to understand, like, is he really talking to me or am I like making this up? And then what happened was like his big message was like, he needed help transitioning. At least at that time, that was what I understood. But, his big message was like, you have to change your ways, and you're kind of on the same path as me. Because at that time I was like excessively smoking and drinking and pharmaceutical drugs and
I think we
spending.
all do that in this
Yeah,
field.
I mean,
We have this stuff happening to us. Sometimes you just want to shut it out, and that's a good way to do it.
right. That's what it was. I mean, I don't do any of that anymore. It was
Not
gone.
a good
All
way to do it, but it
cleared.
feels like it
Like,
is. Yeah.
right. It was all cleared from me once I got rightly aligned with my right path.
Yes.
But that's where I was at that time. So I took that message and I became a dog trainer. And then I started hearing the dogs. And the dogs were like, you listen to us and we'll teach you.
Oh.
They're so amazing. And I just started getting really good at talking to animals too, and listening to animals and learning from animals and how they're here to help humans, and that they know the secrets of the humans they live with, and how they have the energy to help humans and different parts of the earth and humanity. And
They
so
do.
that started blossoming.
I get that information too from my cats. I'm more of a cat person. But like one of my cats, Einstein, he's a big cat. He'll lie on my whole body, and I have a lot of stomach issues in the morning, and I can feel him offering me energy to my stomach. And he won't just push it in there, and if I accept it, then and it eases my stomach up, and then I'll go get my coffee and sit down. My other cat will come up and he'll do biscuits on my belly to make it feel better. And I'll call him Dr. Gand and all this, but they're taking care of me, and they're explaining it to me what they're doing, And sometimes Gandalf will just stand on one spot real hard and he's like, I'm getting out the gas. Yeah, I don't hear that. I just know that's what he just lets me know that's what he's doing, It's fabulous,
Yeah, that is awesome. What do you think those stomach issues are about for you?
Well, I think, I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a collagen disorder, connective tissue issue. So that's what causes it. It makes it stretchier and stuff. And I think also metaphysically, though, I just have a hard time letting go of a lot of anger I'm dealing with right now and have for years. And I'm trying to process it, but it's a little mix. There's some medical condition, and then to look at the spirituality of it. I really think I'm trying to find a way to like get rid of the anger by fixing all the things I broke when I was angry, but I still have a lot of anger to get rid of before I can really smooth over everything and feel at peace with myself again.
Can I offer you something? Can I offer you something? Okay, first, let's just note the physical issues that are diagnosed on the physical plane of existence are only and always a representation of what's going on in the non-physical. And the solution to everything ultimately is always in the non-physical. So even the diagnosis that you've got, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that that's the root solution is in the non-physical. So when you say that you have anger issues,
for me, that's how I've healed everything that's been wrong that comes up. This one I can't figure out yet. So
let me help you a little. So first of all, the anger issues, and I mean, we would need more time to go deeper into it to do healing, a little bit more time, but the belly center area is always what your solar plexus, third chakra, your power dynamics. So anger is in this case clearly linked, as I'm hearing and understanding. In part, it's anyway partly linked to where your power was usurped and or taken away. And it's not just from this lifetime.
No.
Right. So the energy of the anger, because anger is just another energy.
I hate anger too. I just hate it.
I know, but that's part of how it has control over you.
Yes.
Because you're in a push-pull dynamic, a struggle with it. If you hate something or you fight something or you resist something, now it has power over you, because you can never win over the energy of anger. You can never win over any energy. You can only
not about winning.
Neutralize the energy and start to understand how that anger has served you, what it's meant to do to help you. Then you start to see it in a sense as, it has been of service to me. It has helped me. You receive the gifts of that energy.
It has helped me.
Right.
I haven't thought about it that way at all.
Right. You have to shift your consciousness on it so that you start seeing it as a gift. And then you're no longer fighting, struggling, or arguing with it. Yeah. And you start recognizing, okay, what is the ultimate purpose of it? To a large degree, it's there to, and I would, if I was working on you energetically, right, we would do this in a much more in a way that the energy did completely move for you. And it wouldn't take more than an hour probably. But in a sense, it's almost like you need to get the gifts of that anger. And a huge part of those gifts is about you reclaiming your power.
Yeah.
Why your power was taken from you in the game of life, the game of what we call duality. But really the purpose of that was to help you to eventually to reclaim it. Now, once you reclaim it and you're no longer mad at the anger, that energy transmutes. It's all part of the process of healing, of working with energy, because anger in and of itself, even though it's so it's unpleasant for us.
Yeah.
And we don't enjoy it. It's not like, oh, yippee, I'm angry.
And it messes everything up. It never helps anything.
And
You're wrong. I'm wrong. I mean, it does. It does. It did help me in certain ways, which I haven't looked at. And
that's
just
right.
Pointing that out has made a big difference already. Just thinking in the way I'm
yes. And then as you reclaim your power back, you see the gift of the anger and you start realizing, oh, it's just energy placeholder for me. It's not good or bad. It's not right or wrong. It just is energy. And ultimately, when we're doing energy work, and this is true for any form of trauma or any kind of pain that we experience, emotional or mental or whatever it is, that's all energy that can be released and transmuted and replaced. Yeah. And we want to always replace it with the gifts of consciousness or God's gifts to us, whatever those gifts are, as we're growing and evolving, right? Yeah. That's the trauma healing process, because everything is healable. Everything. It doesn't matter. Disease, physical, emotional, mental, like all of this depression or, anxiety. All of those are just energy that we're not in our physical world. We haven't learned how to work with appropriately.
And, I feel like we have, to me personally, I feel like we have this like electrical system, physical, our electrical system and our chemical system, our endocrine system, or, and then we have the energy system. It's in there. Nobody yet in our culture and right now is measuring that out and doing anything with it scientifically, which they could. They totally could, they have all the stuff and some people are.
They're starting to. They're starting to. Yes. But the biggest thing really is that people, because scientists are generally, their religion is science. I mean, not 100% all the time.
But science used to be with metaphysics. They used to go together. Years, before the church came along and said, "Now." But
the thing is because they're doing it so scientifically, which is the scientific approach is real and valid, but they don't necessarily, like you said earlier, understand the observer effect. And because they're not always conscious of the way that they're doing their research, they don't necessarily realize the cause and effect relationship, even between their own thoughts, their own emotions when they're conducting a study. They don't necessarily recognize while they're doing a study, if my desire is for this and I'm looking for truth, if I'm really looking for truth, let truth be revealed, and to position their study in such a way that the divine can reveal the truth through this study.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Because they don't necessarily involve the divine.
No, a lot of scientists are really worried about what they look like to other scientists, from what I understand.
Yeah, all that stuff is just their personality self-interfering, right?
Yeah.
With the accuracy, or if a research study isn't necessarily double-blind.
What is it? How can you prove? Proving it is different for everybody if you have to prove it. And I think there's somebody who's like, "I'll give you $1 million or something like that if you can prove you're psychic." I heard about that sometime.
Oh, I heard about that too.
Yeah, right? And I was like, well, what does he consider proof? Because there's so many ways that can go. Is it saying your grandfather shows blah blah blah, or is it I'm moving a spoon? You can do all those things, but what is he talking about? Because somebody could have obviously proven it to him by now.
Not only that, but I just want to say that people like that who are leading with the energy of skepticism, cynicism, doubt, and disbelief, by their very nature, they're putting those energies in the way: skepticism, cynicism, and disbelief. So that is going to interfere with any reading or any kind of psychic stuff, because that's energy too.
Yeah, you're right. When I read for a client, sometimes they are just closed. I can't feel them.
I totally get it.
Can you put your shield down?
You have to lead them to get them to be willing to receive what's for their most benevolent best.
Yeah.
But I had years ago in my earlier days, like many, many, many years ago, I remember multiple times where I'd read with someone more than once who was skeptical or cynical, or they would sort of have this attitude like, I want her to prove it to me. And I'd get to it right away. I'd be like, oh no, I don't do that. I'm not here to prove anything. This is not for I'm not doing this for, I don't like.
You just went into your
want the gifts or not. I'm going to waste your time by bringing up that energy of skepticism, cynicism, doubt, disbelief. Those are all blockers to your good. And people who are skeptical and cynical and et cetera, they just haven't considered with an open mind. No, they're leading with that energy. I have no interest in those people.
Well, they won't try to even
because they're just going to continue to block themselves.
Yeah, they won't go. People who just no psychic, no energy, no nothing. Hard, cold facts. Well, everything is a perspective. I make a hard, cold fact is not 1 + 1 = 2. It could equal 1. We have different number systems. It's just like they don't allow the thinking out of the box, but they say we should all think out of the box.
Right. It's really interesting when you run into that energy, because skeptics and cynics don't realize how they block themselves. And I remember
thought about that, but you're right.
Once a long time ago, I did an interview with a total witch hunter. I mean, she was just a witch hunter. It was a horrible experience for me personally.
Gosh, yeah.
And I had this, after I hung up, I totally saw her in her Puritan outfit in like Salem, Massachusetts.
You knew her from a past life.
Right.
Yeah.
It was that same energy of witch hunter. And those people they don't bring out good interviews anyway. That's not exploration for we really want to explore and know and learn. Right.
Trying to make controversy and make people angry and get people talking and get you upset and her, whatever. I don't know, or them. But I just feel like, I don't know, all through this podcast, I can feel you healing me. I can't explain that. I have a team of beings
who are always working with me, in me, through me, and around me.
And yours are very, very especially it's you doing it, but they're doing it with your permission or with your whatever. But it feels like, a lot of guests do end up, but yours is very powerfully healing. Like I can feel this power of it, and it's really cool. Thank you for that.
Oh, awesome! I'm so glad.
And my stomach's my stomach's never good, and it's feeling a lot better. It gurgled a few times. The main problem is it's too slow. So, and it kind of got a little bit of that Reiki rumble feeling. I do Reiki, so but it's not Reiki. It's something like. From you, all kinds of different healings modalities use, it feels like, but it's just really, really great. Listeners and watchers, I don't know if you can pick up on that, but I'd like you to try. So tell them about you. What do you do to help people? Like how do you help people with these abilities?
Well, mostly I'm working with people who are very highly ambitious visionaries, light leaders, light warriors who truly want to bring their light into the world and serve and contribute to make the world a better place. And I know that sounds so trite, but really it's about
really what you're doing.
Coming into alignment with the divinity that is within us. Yeah. Because there's not one of us that doesn't have access to our source. And there's not one of us that would be denied all of our gifts, talents, and abilities. And by the way, those are all stored. Like our gifts, talents, and abilities are stored inside of us in the DNA, in our own dormant DNA, beyond the first 2 strands. So once we start getting activated and energized, and that energy amplifies and anchors in and through us, and we clear, heal, and resolve our traumas. And traumas are just the wounded parts of us, the parts where we were unloved, uncared for, not understood, not heard, not recognized, not validated, not appreciated, where we couldn't find our way, where somebody, was cruel, unkind, insensitive to us, because of their wounds, quite frankly. The wounded parts of us. Rejected, denied, abandoned, all those things. Those wounds are very common for all of us.
All of us.
Different stories about them, but those wounds can be healed and resolved because they're just energetics trapped in our energy fields.
Yes.
So that's a huge part. We're clearing that out. And as we do that, at the same time, we're also activating, energizing, and awakening more of the divinity that is naturally meant for us, that is organic to who we are. We're also awakening those blueprints within our own DNA, the codes that
Yeah.
are for us, because those are the solutions that we're meant to bring forward. And we're developing, like I have a sacred mentorship, right? We're developing not only our intuitive gifts, our empathic gifts, all of our psychic gifts, but we're also developing our tools, metaphysical tools to use,
Yes.
right? So it's not just about like, oh, this is a fun parlor trick. It's about like, how can I utilize this to improve the quality of my life and the quality of life on earth for whomever I interact with, whether my audience is I'm serving animals, whether I'm, just a small entrepreneur, solopreneur, whether I'm, famous book author or something. It doesn't matter. It's more like, how can you utilize these gifts to serve and contribute in a higher and better way and bring yourself into alignment with your soul's true divine agenda? Because here's the thing, and we talked about this before we started, Lisa. Every soul has an agenda.
Yes.
And
I
that
agree with that.
agenda, right, will not be ignored. It cannot be. That's sometimes part of what we call part of karma, even
Yeah.
though karma is a bigger conversation in and of
Yeah, it
itself.
is. You need to come back.
Yeah, the soul's agenda will not be ignored. And so that's when, if the soul's agenda is being ignored, that's when we tend to we run into roadblocks.
Right.
We run into emotional wounding patterns. We have car accidents. We get fired from jobs. We have problems with relationships. We can't meet our life partner. We're struggling. We're doing a looping pattern in life, like the hamster wheel. We're
Yeah.
playing Groundhog Day. Like that's when the soul's agenda is not being aligned with, and the soul's like, I'm going to keep pushing on you. You're going to have a car accident. You're going to get fired. You're going to have all these things happen because you're not rightly aligned with your true
Yes.
path, your most benevolent best. And so that soul's agenda is what I'm working with people to get them into right alignment. And once that starts happening, things just, wow. It's like, watch out, because not only do your gifts come online like so effortlessly, all of your psychic gifts start coming in. And again, not everybody has the same gifts. Different
Right.
people have different gifts.
Different
But
things
like
you can do.
one
Yeah.
of my students,
Nice.
she went in the shower. She was like having spontaneous light language. She's like, what is going on? Like with
Yeah.
this light language, like she didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, I didn't either until I heard someone do it and say, I asked her to do it. She said she could. And I was like, oh, it's beautiful. She did it on purpose. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So like, and then one of my other students, her animal communication gifts, like that's part of what was attracting her to my mentorship program. They just start coming online, and it's so, that part is so effortless. And I want to say to people who feel like they've tried to be psychic, or they've tried to develop their gifts, or maybe they're energy workers or healers of some kind, and they're working with it, but they keep running into some kind of block, or especially for people who feel like they've taken classes. I mean, if it's trying to be learned through the brain, that is not how it's done. That is not how.
That's why the swords are bad, and they represent the thoughts in tarot. They're not bad. They just don't represent. They represent conflict usually, because
they don't really serve.
They don't
the
serve.
Highest and best. It has to be revealed and awakened from within you,
and then integrated and all put
and it integrates. But, but integration can happen so easily, like while you sleep, or
I've never seen it happen. I've seen it kind of happen slowly, and then
right,
like it's like that somebody will hit. I think what you just said, they'll realize they can't. I can think of one of our regular guests, Brian, who needs to hear that. You can't get to it with your brain just by itself. It's not going to happen.
Can't get to it with your brain. That's even the challenge on earth in general, is that even with all the internet and all the online classes and everything, people are still just trying to left brain everything.
Yeah, consciousness is not just thinking. Consciousness is our entire experience and our essence, what we are about, what we perceive. And I love that about every person having a different perspective. That's why I love doing the podcast so much. I guess it's here, like yours and so many people's, and I still feel the healing going on, and it's just lovely. I almost don't want to stop talking to you because
that's awesome.
Telling you this is very interesting. It's very soothing. It's not a push in your face healing. It's just very gently kind of shifting energies around, and it feels.
My team always says that to me. Yeah. It's taken a lot of years. I love that you're saying that. It's like such an honor to hear you say that, Lisa, because for so many years, my team, as I was healing all my own traumas and wounded bits, just the
Yeah.
same kind of stuff we all go through, my team would say there will come a time where people will feel your energy and they'll just want to be near you. They'll just want to
Yeah,
be
that's what
near
it feels like. Yeah, it's just thank you
you.
for that. And I
I
just
mean,
let me
really,
let
yeah.
the listeners where they can feel you.
Yeah. Okay, my website is my name. It's lorispagna.com, LORISPAGNA.com. And if they want to I have some free gifts. If they want to get a DNA activation, it's a generic one, but it's a good starter one to start activating your dormant potential. You can go to lorispagna.com/free gifts /DNA. If they want to learn more about animal communication and helping animals on a global scale and practicing telepathy and psychic, being a pet psychic or an animal psychic, you can go to lorispagna.com/free gifts /animals. And if you want to learn more about developing your own psychic gifts, you can go to lorispagna.com/free gifts. Just stop there. The other thing too is I have a YouTube channel where I teach a lot about this, and I do
Good.
have a podcast on there as well. So it's called the
Oh,
Awaken
yeah.
Enlightened Human. Yeah.
Definitely. I will put links to all of that in the description with her bio. And thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and thank my sponsor, Everclear, right now. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And I'm an advisor on Everclear under the name Lisa P, LEESAP, letter P. And lastly, Lori, want to ask you for some advice. So, what is a good way for, let's say someone just stops on this podcast. It's the first time they've ever listened to a psychic podcast and they've heard of you or something. And they're like, oh, shoot, she says. And they're maybe, trying to figure out it's not true, but they just want to be pissed in this. So they listen to this. But what if skeptic, what if they hear you say that about, get out of your own way, basically, integrate and work with all your feelings and your thoughts and everything together. What would you say to like one of those types of people if they're like, where do I start?
Yeah. Oh, let me say, this is such a good question, Lisa. A couple things. First, if what you're wanting to do is heal any kinds of traumas, get yourself with an energy healer who has a really good track record and knows how to work with energy. Of course I do that because people don't realize how trapped we are in energy, anger, any kind of anything. It's just energy. So get yourself with a good energy healer who can help you move that energy and clear, heal, and resolve it. So you're free and liberated from it. And the other thing for anyone who is skeptical or doubting, let me just say these things. These are easy things to be learned right away, and they will start opening psychic gifts. And I teach them in my sacred mentorship and in my programs. Number one, learn how to access the Theta Brainwave. It's a superhighway.
Yes.
Number two, learn how to develop and cultivate the brain matter in the heart. Now, if you're not with it on science, you might think that's crazy, brain matter in the heart, but
we got it in our guts too.
What's that?
We have it in our guts too.
Yes, we have it in our guts too. We already know this scientifically because I've been laughed at before for saying that. And no, we actually have that. We have to develop it. Yeah. So once you start learning how to do that, more of your knowings will come on. Other thing is like, we have to clear up our chakras, our chakra centers regularly. That's not woo-woo. This is a real energy center.
That's what I was talking about with the chemical, the electrical, and this energy system is like a battery that keeps us going,
right.
And that's the battery that fails, and then nothing.
It just gets clogged up. It's like we're not flossing. If you don't floss your teeth every day, it gets clogged up with tartar. Yeah. It's the same thing. Your chakra centers are real energy centers. So they have to get weird. You have to learn how to do it just the same way you learn how to floss your teeth when you're a kid. One other thing too is that you can learn how to access and activate the third eye. And that's also scientifically explainable by recognizing that you have a pineal gland and a pituitary gland in the center of the brain. Those master glands are calcified by things like artificial sweeteners, sugar, fluoride, GMOs, crap that we eat, McDonald's, etc. You got to get that decalcified, and you can learn how to do it for yourself, but it's always best to start learning with someone else until you learn how, because that's what's going to start opening up, at least initially, a lot of your potentials. One last piece, start to get your DNA activated, because your gifts are in there. By the way, if you don't understand, like a mass collection effort globally of DNA collection could be, Q-tip swabs, things stick in your arm. Like, you got to get people know how valuable that DNA is. It's your most prized possession. So start getting that activated, learning how to do it. And of course, I gave some free gifts that you can do it.
That's right. She sure did.
That is a major part of, these are all things that will,
these are steps you
very
can take.
quickly
Yes.
start to get the ball rolling. And then, there's more to do after that, but that's how you start.
Yeah. And if you're skeptical, I mean, what do you got to lose by even trying this stuff? It can only make you feel happier if it works.
If you are skeptical, you do have to work with that energy of skepticism. You have to say, all right, I maybe am skeptical, but I'm willing to know.
Yeah.
I'm willing to know truth.
Yes.
And I truly do desire truth. And so I'm willing to put the skepticism or cynicism aside, even the doubt, and I'm asking for truth. You have to be willing to receive, to accept, to allow, to know truth. If you don't put the skepticism aside or even the doubt, you just go, yeah, I don't know, I don't believe, I'll just try it. That's still, doubt will be the blocker. Yeah. You have to be willing to know truth. And then, because your free will is the driving force of everything.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great way to put it. And thank you so much, Lori, again, for coming on the show. I love this.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa. It's been really fun.
I feel fabulous.
I'm so glad.
Go to the bathroom.
Awesome. You're going to release a lot of what you no longer need.
Yeah, I don't feel any anger. I feel a little bit releasing still out of the top of my head, like of thinking about the anger, the way I think about it. And I'm
let it just send it to God's love to be forever transmuted. I know it's not that easy or simple, but just by saying it,
doing it,
that's right. It can be.
It really can be. I mean, I'm used to doing that kind of thing. The affirmations work for me because I've done them for so long that, if I do them a couple times, I can make it a mantra and work with that, But anyway, I love that is that a puppy? Oh, is your pupper dog? Oh, she's your pupper. Oh my goodness. What's your name?
That's Emma.
Hi, Emma. I'm Lisa. Listeners, watchers, you can see it. You can see Emma, but listeners, she has the most beautiful dog. His Cocker Spaniel girl. Is it a Cocker?
She's a King Charles Spaniel.
Oh, okay. So I recognized the shape of a Spaniel, but I didn't know. Yeah, the color was different.
Yeah, it's the same lineage. I mean, they're in the same, family, just another offshoot of the Spaniel.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you.
See, and you said you were only a cat person.
I love dogs. I'm a little allergic to them, unfortunately, but it's starting to go away some with what
I want to tell you. I can feel those allergies. I say it's not really me, but I know the protocol to heal. I know the protocol to heal pretty much everything. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I've been able. I haven't had the allergy to any dogs in the last year. So
good for you.
But I've been getting rid of.
That's another area where you give your power away.
Well, what's interesting is that I've been sick all my life. And when I finally accepted that energetically I can fix some of this stuff, even just saying some, it did work. And I worked with people for it, and I did it myself, and I learned Reiki, and that really helped a lot, because that's what I learned it for, was to heal myself and work on myself. And it's made all the difference to you wouldn't believe the pain I had been in before, but I figured out what it was really caused by. And when I was 36, I had arthritis in my hips, and now it's gone.
Good for you, Lisa.
And so these things were happening, and I do try to decalcify because I have bone growth, or did, and now it's not showing. It showed up in all these x-rays, and then a few months later I had an MRI, and the pain I was having was energetic and psychological when they looked at the MRI, but the x-rays had shown calcification, but the MRI showed nothing. So, and there's a little story behind that I might tell you, so if you're ever interested. But anyway, listeners, we can go. I can talk to you forever, man. I don't want to tell it on the podcast, but anyway, listeners and watchers, I love you. And we have some news coming up that I'll let you know about soon. And Lori, thanks again so much.
Thank you again, Lisa.
Everybody, peace out. Have a great time wherever you are. Goodbye.